Welcome back from the coffee break. Counsel, if you're ready to continue, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The witness is being brought in.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Mr. Witness.
Bismillah.
Thank you very much.
Before the break, you were telling us how you were correcting some of the rights violations that were made. By the Jammeh government, by reinstating some officers who were dismissed. Correct?
That's correct.
You also told us about instances where you offered advice and contrary views for positions taken by Jammeh to dismiss certain officers.
That is in several circumstances. I did not mention some of them, and I want to believe that they are very key here, if you would allow me to mention, because my mind comes to reflect on them now.
Jamabije hakilo boto lalembedi am kantu momena bari nata je ko wolu ila ko kuma yata bakele ko wolu kono bitu ninna ta silo soto e bulde mbe wol dolu fulale kato ila ko akuma yata le purngefo.
Could you go ahead? And let's make it short. We have other issues to come.
Another instance is when he asked me to give him the names of all those who are serving at the tourism industry, TDA.
Anata nyum fana mfanya sila doko menu bebe doko la TDA wole mtubabu lunta wala tani na mafango kamada men purunga ulube to diala.
I prepared the list.
Na kaito nyinsafe.
I thought it was going to be a good news for me. There were about 124. They were all dismissed. I found very uncomfortable. And this is something that I have to fight for their possible reinstatement. It has taken me almost a month. To see him was the problem. I went to him and I explained to him. Quite 75% of those that are dismissed were recruits. They were personally selected by me. They were deployed, personally identified by me. Why I want to be involved in that case? I instructed the commander of the PIU then to provide me with names of officers that are very decent. And are completely drug-free. Are completely drug-free. He conducted the selection. And I said before their deployment, I want to come and address them. Some of the members I discovered are not decent. And I have reasons to believe that they take drugs. I said no way.
nko hani wotekela
let everybody fall in here.
nko be benjang ye tembe.
And I was the one because I've been their commander. And
I
have interaction with several of them during their training. I always go to the training school to give them lectures. Also time on human rights issues and investigative matters. So I have to go to him and then appeal to him that these officers are one of my best officers. And then I've spent a lot on them. For 10 good months they were on the training. Because when I came in, I changed the training syllabus from 5 months to 10 months. So to me, it is very unfair at that time. I know something must have happened. But I always want to narrow it down to a particular person. And this was, he never disclosed to me what had happened. That's why I made a global appeal. There were 121 of them were reinstated. These are people who are under my responsibility to promote. That means they are all less than chief inspector and below. For senior officers, 3 of them, it has to take a process.
The bottom line here is you pleaded with Jame for their reinstatement. And he accepted. So in fact, in some instances, when people pleaded with him, he would accept.
Well, I don't know, because many people come here and say they choose his bad mood or good mood. For me, the moment you hit me, I will react.
Lol na taja idi amrai ko kalam fulale bala na abe kamfaring wala na jusobe laring ala kulu buka ke kilindi.
I don't normally look at the condition in which I'm going to find him.
Ndabaka jube mbatar la nyame nyama.
But my interest is
ndela hamu momenti
to make sure that my people are not unlawfully terminated.
But Mr. Witness, you'd agree with me that in spite of all this, human rights violations continue to happen, even within the police under your watch.
But I said, I said, Hanin Kabio, Ninkatakul Becono, Hanamadi Nyantatinal Tentental Cathedron, Police or Marolo Cono, Police or Cono.
Even if it happens,
could you take that again?
I'm not saying, because officers, when you send officers out, you cannot monitor everything that they are doing, because there are people responsible of their welfare and management.
Ntebe kantanola katu dolle fanalu marata itelu Kenya nila palasolu la anila doko Kenya.
But it was still within the knowledge of the management of the police that human rights violations were happening within the police.
But haninka bi alonta police la nyaton ko la bundaro ko hanamadi nyantatinya betentantan kake police kundaro.
Yes, that's also why that leads me, because when I assumed office, the first thing that I did is to create complaints. Complaint discipline was there, but I created human rights office.
Ha wamuto nyalti birinte muruta nang mol kata wasi bunda lumena police la karola ubijele barintele nata bunda dada me londi me yalonko wolle be lola hadama ya nyanta tinyalu kunna.
All public complaints are filed in that office.
Jama mol la wasi dalu be ka safe wa office olto.
And then actions taken.
Andung kana kule fanambulandia noma memu tonya fasa ranguti.
And principal among the human rights violations were unlawful detentions.
No abe kono wala ngada mari nyanti tinyala nyindi wala ma memba ma jawma bedi wala nyindi ko
Yes, definitely unlawful detention is a violation.
And it used to happen in the police.
I will not dispute that fact.
And it used to happen under your watch.
When I was the IG, but not directly under my watch, because they have supervision. They have supervisors at different locations.
Birimu IGT akake barbitungolu imantarantela maroni ya maro koto ko ibente fongole koto ka anyanta kela nyamin ka belarintela koto.
But of course, Mr. Witness, you know that that would not absolve you of responsibility. If it happened under your watch as IGP, you are responsible ultimately. In order
to avoid that responsibility, that's the reason why I created the Human Rights Office, for people to have chance to complain, and matters will be looked after.
But when you're in the Yama, well, and Fananating official Lundi, many along co, will live a Bula Hadamaya Nyanto Kunyalu Noma, Nimomundinata was Sidalaji.
Yes, that may have been the case. Right, but what would have been more effective would be a position on your part that would prevent these rights violations from happening. Don't you think that is the case?
The best way to do is to include human rights this thing in the curriculum.
Memma be ku kendo di walem hadamaya alhagatu hadamaya nyantolu tukungo londi ila kulu Kenya lukono.
But wouldn't it be more effective also to have standard operating procedures that would prevent rights violations from happening?
But ya mrema mira fanang sartol ni tamandri bulu bambande wala nyana tarla kaitara lori nje me ya lonko wala be bantam billa nyin hadama ya nyanta tinyala me ya lonko be kere no puri kanake.
Of course, I want to believe that if you look at the files correspondence from the IGP's office to regional commissioners, you will see quite a number of warnings, memos, of detaining people for a longer duration than necessary.
Sonya bari niye kaitolu jamaju be failo lumenu kabontela karola katanyi police nyaton koli ya commissioner lumenu be dinkiralu to kata dandalaro lu katara je menu bambanta aniya mari kangulu menu katara wo kaitolu balankamen ki itolie pour nyin kamala isi hakilotu inyanta kolu menu korosila pour inyanta kolu tamandi la nyamila do koko.
I have given you a name, and I did so purposely for reasons of privacy. I would circulate it to the chair and the deputy chair. This person was detained. You were aware of it? And this person was unlawfully detained? Correct? Don't mention the name.
This person was detained.
Okay, just answer the questions.
Yeah.
Unlawfully?
Well, I will not say unlawfully.
In excess of the statutorily allowed limit.
Yes, that's true.
And that's a violation of the person's rights. Let's be gender neutral here.
Yes, definitely.
It happened during your watch.
Yes, it happened during my watch, but I think if you also ask the person, the person will tell you what I've accorded.
Yes, yes.
But Tonyala, Kitana Maralo, which you're
the person.
But in Niamari from Fananinka, Baflene, Ntenga Simfalu Menuta, Puru Kajeko Alakule Bonot.
I make sure that
but Mr. Witness, you would accept. I mean, at a particular level, general courtesy would be accorded to one another. Agree with that. Basic courtesy would be accorded to one another.
Yes, but it's very unusual for the IGP to come down and doing everything.
Yes, but
that person.
Pour IGP fangoye jinang kana wo kolu dolu tamandi bundalula menyalon ko belori.
But what I'm trying to drive at here is that here was a blatant violation of a person's right, and the IGP was aware of it. And the IGP did not do anything to stop or to end the violation of the rights. True or false? Let's start from there.
Yes, I did not do much to get the person out. Because I was only asked to take custody of her.
Let's be gender neutral. But this is precisely the point. This is another violation of rights. You are not, as IGP, you are not just a custodian of people for the head of states to come and say, keep this person for me. It's not like being a herdsman and you are given a cow to keep. The IGP is the Inspector General of Police and cannot act in that capacity for the president. You agree with that?
Kake IGP di police la nyato ko te keno la nyindi don yetara o dingira nyindo bidame to yalon ko president bina la mona ta ko nyimuta jangali asindi jang amanke ko bukata o nyama itel mu IG di police la kundon koti amanke ni si koro de yalon ko ba fala ko moyna ta ko ni sota ya mutanye jang o nyama ko bukata o nyama.
Probably things are not going that way, the way it should have gone. But then, at the level of me, personally, this is not the only situation. There are a lot of situations.
Let's focus on this one first. I have an important reason for bringing these things out.
Yes.
Authority is not to be abused. No. Authority is not to be abused. Authority is to be exercised in accordance with law, and it has to be exercised judiciously. You agree with that? And it was a blatant violation of rights. It was also abuse of authority for the president just to show, keep this person for me here. That is a blatant violation of rights, you would agree?
I will agree that that's the violation of right.
You would also agree that it ought not to have happened.
Yes.
You would agree with me that in a democracy, the IGP should have said, Mr. President, you are asking me to violate this person's rights. And under the Constitution, I am obliged to protect this person's rights.
Mr. President,
in a democracy, this is what ought to have happened.
I cannot remember exactly the facts of that matter.
Yeah, hold on a second. Council, there's a lot of exchange going on between the two of you in the abstract. Can we see the list that? So
yes,
commissioners would be in the picture.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, for that.
There's a lot of abstract discussion, avoiding gender, avoiding this, avoiding that, and we don't know what you're talking about.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
But
Yes,
you would,
I
you
would
would agree with me that in a democracy, the IGP should have informed the president that you are asking me to violate the rights of a person, and under the law I am obliged to protect the rights of that person. In a democracy.
That's right. I personally made several efforts. If I remember, I think this is about
don't give us the facts.
Yeah.
Don't give us the facts, because it will disclose the person's name.
So I approached I went to the AG's chambers. This was in the form of a white paper. And the white paper was sent to AG's chambers for a review, and then the instruction comes. I made several attempts. I have a personal relationship with the person. It's not because of my relationship with the person that I made that move. The person is my blood cousin. So I made several efforts.
That does not change the fact that the person's rights were violated.
The moment you are detained more than necessary, your rights have been violated.
Well, Mr. Witness, it's not being detained beyond more than necessary. It's being detained more than the allowed limits under law.
Quite right.
I bring these things out to show that public officers are not required to implement unlawful orders, irrespective of where they come from.
But
that's right. And you should not have done it even though the orders came from the president. Do you agree with that?
I always, as I said,
I know you'd made efforts, but let's put aside the efforts. The bottom line is, it should not have happened.
That I agree.
By making it happen, you also contributed to violating the law. In spite of the efforts you have made, by making it happen.
If I want to contribute, I would not have made several efforts. And not only this person, but quite a number of them. I choose where is comfortable for them.
Hana manke nyimari damante ninga la ko na manke otinu nte katakuolu kela baringa katakuolu kele andum amanke nyimari damante hana manke ofon fananti nka jubele imari nyolusi daha soto dame
to me if we follow that, you would see that there was an animal farm wherein some people received better treatment than others, depending on their status in society and personal relationships with the officers entrusted with their care. Which by itself is still bad because it's discrimination.
I qualify my last statement by telling you that I did not do it because I'm related to the person.
Okay.
And that's why I went further to tell you several other people that I don't even know.
Mangana kumo lolini kanko nga katale adun hana manke o mari fango damman fanandi nga katamo jamale men yalon ko ni mahani nyolom fang.
I agree with that. And understand the objective here. Our mantra here is never again shall these things happen in our country. Our president is a public officer whose primary responsibility is to uphold the Constitution and to ensure that those officers under him also respect and uphold the Constitution. So we are doing this exercise so that all of us would learn from the mistakes of the past. Undoubtedly, in the discharge of public functions, there were a lot of good men. And there were a lot of good men who did a lot of good things. But even among those good men, some of them did wrong. It still does not absolve them of responsibility. And unless we bring these things out, we will not learn from them. It was wrong for the president to order the detention of this person beyond the statutorily allowed limits. You agree?
I agree with the rest of the people.
In fact, under the laws of this country, it's only judicial officers who are empowered by You would agree with that?
Yes, of course.
Okay. And therefore, what would you advise the Inspector General of Police if the president were to give him or her, whosoever IGP is, if the president were to give him or her an unlawful order?
I don't think what had happened will ever happen in this country.
Mr. Witness, you have not answered my question.
Yes, I will continue. My advice to the IGP that nobody should give instructions, or they should not accept any instruction from anybody that violate the rights of people.
Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. Let's now move on to the issue of the Ghanaians. You returned to Gambia in 2007.
Not to interrupt, but before we leave the last issue, can the witnesses mention a list that he gave to Jammeh of 124 individuals, I believe he said in the tourist sector?
In the tourist sector.
That's the third reference he's made to a list that he had given to Jammeh. can he include in what you requested by Wednesday to give us copies of those lists?
Correspondence.
And if we can do it in writing to him, so he would not, I believe he would deliver, but to be sure that we requested those things for our own records as well.
Mbenyin kanin selo bulupuru legal counsel ye nyinin karo ke kaito men me alonko wodo kula mumu anin nano tobe dameng men ya lonko ko be do kula nun tuba lun tan la tanin na ma dinkira leto fansi o tolu soto wayre kaito dolu bijele men la kumo fota bari nyin tolu be safirin kaito men fana bala fasi o fana la faje pour nyin kamala i besi dun na CDR kaito lu konon sulata men la jang.
I'm not sure whether that document may be available at the headquarters, but what I know is that the list was submitted to me by their commander, and then it was General Baji that he sent, and I delivered that list to him. All the officers are still, quite a number of them are alive, and I even met one of them being part of the officers here just a few minutes ago. He came to greet me. You know, so the officers are 124, but 121 are reinstated.
Yes,
the 3 others are not. I'm not sure whether the list, because the list was submitted to me, and it was in a hurry, and I gave it to General Baji and I gave it to him. But I know their dismissal reads all their names. Probably you will see that we can get that from the headquarters. The list that are submitted may not be available because I want to believe that I don't make copy of that. But his reaction to the dismissal, that is obvious that it should be available at the police headquarters.
Listo wotolu be kaito membala amanko imma fa betar la police korda bato sayin katu nyin kamala birin kaito nyin nata anyamoto nata kanne adum birafata tamante fanan nata o kaito le cikanga di General Bajila bitun ye kolu tambindi ye tentendi wala nyama bar bitun hanimbi ngalon ko tolu men ya lonko isafeta wonya womumu anin nano atolu asekeno ye tara police la korda bato ila kitabu lubala katu inata momu anin kilingo be murundi la palaso lutole
mokeme anin muang
mokeme momu anin kiling inata be murundi ila palaso lutole biring wo koketa.
As I said, that was the third list that you referred to. If we can get the others as well.
Wala mkaiti sabanjangota mem fo molu tolbe jamen ninsi dolu fanalu sotonno.
Okay, I will find out. I will find out from the headquarters.
Mba katala ngako nyininka kabo korda banyim fa.
So it should be filed there. I don't. The file that I received, including their names that I sent, probably may not be available, but his response to dismiss them may be available in the office.
We will provide you the request in writing, so you know exactly what we are looking for from your testimony here. Thank you very much. Counsel, you may continue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Witness, you did say that you became CMC in 2009.
That's correct.
CMC 2009.
I want to believe you are mistaken. Take a look at this document. You would agree that this is a document from where? State House, isn't it?
Yes, this then it should be late 2008.
Niajube woto anyanta kala 2008 bandula ma fangoleti.
Let's say that as per this letter, a task force was established by Gambia government and a support team to the task force to deal with the UN-AU delegation that was to come to Gambia to investigate the issue of the West African migrants who were killed in this country.
Yes.
And this letter is dated 4th September 2008.
Later on, in Lungmen Nasafre, Willem September Karotilindani 2008.
Correct?
Tonya?
Correct.
And in the letter,
Later on, in Kono.
You are included as a member of the task force support team.
You are number 2
number 3 rather, on the support team list. And you are listed as crime management coordinator. So by this, it means, therefore, that before September 4th, 2008, you were already CMC. You agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's good. And by this letter, it shows that the government took the visit of this delegation very seriously. Just looking at the task force that were set up, shows that the government included very high-profile people in the task force. Could you read out the membership?
I did not see, Council, I did not see this letter.
You did not see it before?
I've never seen this letter. All that I know is that I'm instructed that I'm selected and I should be there.
I am not surprised that you did not see it. Because the letter would have been addressed, at least the one that went to the police would have been addressed to the IGP. Do you agree?
But it's copied to IGP.
Precisely my point. And it would be for the IGP to instruct you.
It was IGP.
And it was the IGP who instructed you.
Yeah, who instructed me. He told me that I should be part of that task force. I should report to the ministry on a particular date.
Do you have any reason to doubt the authenticity of this letter?
Well, since I am part of it and is very clear, and I also form part of the task force, I have no reason to disbelieve.
Could you read out the names of the members of the task force?
The composition of the task force is as follows. Secretary General, Office of the President.
Secretary General, President of Office.
Secretary of State for Interior,
Secretary of State, Memmarta Banko Kankunya, Lawolem Siran, Tioti Kafonyinkon.
Secretary of State for Justice.
Secretary of State, Memmarta Tilimunin Kitola.
Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs.
Secretary of State, Member Nimbantala Banko Lutema.
Inspector General of Police.
Police Ola Kuntonko.
Director General of the NIA.
Director General Ulem NIA Unkola Nyatonko.
Chief of Defense Staff.
Mem Fanamu Nyatonko Sojaru La Carola.
The support team.
Makoir Lalu.
Malamin Sise.
Malamin Sise.
Numo Kujabi.
Numo Kujabi.
Yankuba Sonko.
Yankuba Sonko.
Ali Jabang.
Ali Jabang.
Ibrahim Madrame.
Ibrahim Madrame.
Assis Haidara.
Aning Assis Haidara.
Good.
And Awaba.
Aning Awaba.
Okay. Mr. Chair, we asked to put this letter in evidence. It should be Exhibit 27, Exhibit 207.
Request granted, Council.
Thank you very much. Mr. Witness, before you return, yes, you want to say something?
I'm not sure whether I'm the right person to tender this particular document.
Amman koy ma fo ntele mo moti men nyanta nyin kayto dundi la jang.
Because I've never seen this document.
Katu nyin kayto ntene ne nyamaje.
Even though I believe in his genuinity.
Anilla tala ko nyi muku sotoringoleti.
But it should not have been, to me, it's not have been tendered through me.
Bari ntela miro to amanyang kilantete pour katu.
If it is the procedure, I wouldn't mind also.
Bari natara nyanta kala wole nyama fana mtamuta la kuti.
I think you have answered the question.
Indeed.
Technically, in a trial, there has to be that connection between the person and the document tendered.
Thank you.
But the Commission of Inquiry is the master of his own procedures.
So
that answered your question.
Thank you.
I am happy with the fact that you have raised this issue. But the mere fact that you are comfortable with the document and the fact that there is no reason to doubt its authenticity is in fact good reason why we should put it in. And this also saves time. Because if we were to call a witness before you, just to put in this document, a lot of time would have been wasted.
It's good that we save time.
That's right. And I say this also because law students are watching and they would want to ask the question, why are we putting this document in when it's not going through the right person? Thank you very much. But you also worked with those people who are on the list.
The task force members, I think it's only the briefing that some of them, I cannot remember, but I know quite a senior officials were on the task force briefing, and then the rest were the support team.
Nlatala ko menu be kafonyim fankono menu mo kundon koluti kachanyin ketale pour ka kul boy nyoto bari wo kola fana wo mako er kafonte be menu kono del fanal natalo telecom.
So during this period you worked with those members of the support team.
Yes.
Before you returned to Gambia in 2007, did you hear about the killing of Ghanaians and West African migrants in the country?
Of course, that was in the public domain. I read a lot of newspapers on that issue. While it's in UK.
United Kingdom Bangkok.
When I came back, nobody talked about it.
But what was it that was in the public domain?
Ansula, I will not say exactly what it is, but my perception is that migrants were killed and they were 8 in number.
Nte fono la ko nyimu ku lankena marengul bari bitu nyinata londe ko yewuda ilalu mutajanne mo saynyo yemenu fa.
But it was also in the public domain that over more than 8 West African migrants were killed. In fact, 56 West African migrants.
Yes, that was also in the public domain.
In fact, I have here a press statement by the current president of Ghana. This was a press release. And, the first bullet point in the press statement is that about 56 West Africans comprising about 42 Ghanaians, 10 Nigerians, 2 Senegalese, etc. were killed in the Gambia.
I
have no information of that.
But you know that Gambia government was in denial.
Yes.
And it was denying that more than 8 people were killed in the Gambia.
Yeah, that denial I'm aware.
The government was also in denial about responsibility for the 8 who were killed.
And Gambia masakunda membe nunjam fana balanda nyinna lako nyimanke mankang dunoti mo seyo mem fata in Gambia banko kan
in Ghana town.
Ghana town sata kono.
I have no information to that regard.
The government denied that those people were killed by government security forces.
Masakunda membe nunjai balanda nyinna lako kafoko na tanko bunda mul wolle olfa.
I only know about the circumstances which, when you went through with Madam Nsise yesterday, to me is just a cover-up. But I only knew about that, the number, and then their response to that allegation.
Tumole munata lo mo yirko nanga momenti anim fanang ila kulu keta nyaming bring ye mutajang.
And also immediately after the departure of the former president,
anim fanang bring wo member president yala jalung bira botajan dorong.
I ordered to the CDS
ngin kango di CDS la
for the arrest of some junglers.
When
those junglers were escorted to me to the CMC, intermittently I popped into CMC's office to find out what the details.
I
remember the tall guy from Tujere was telling the rest of the people to tell the truth. And he led my officers to identify all that are responsible of different crimes.
That's the
only time that I know a lot of things has happened. I look at them as if they are not human beings. When they started narrating, I moved out because I could not take it. I only asked the CMC to bring, at the end of the day, to bring the report to me.
And
he has done that. I have the copy of that here.
You want to share that with us? Mr. Chair, this is an interim report on missing persons. And could you tell us who prepared the report and to whom it was sent? Well, it is signed on behalf of panelists by Chief Superintendent of Police Fakeba Dabo.
And the mayor signed panelol toyala wolem Chief Superintendent of Police Fakeba Dabo. Wole sign itoyala.
To whom was it addressed?
I requested for it.
Okay. All right. But you would agree it's not on a letterhead, so...
No, but I requested for it.
Right.
Because I did not continue listening to some of this. It's very, very shocking, and I said, let them give me the listing. Because this is from people who have done those atrocities, and they are not that much remorseful in the way they talk.
Katu biring aiba satala mbukalla moyno ala wala nan kafindi katu nyilbenyi sata kantu momenna abele koy man nimisa akola yo woko ninga wajibe akaduntela la wala akendi mbuka pare pour kan lamoy la kola bari ntela ngakani pour yenyin kibaro dinna.
Mr. Chair, if this document is accepted, it should be Exhibit 207A.
Ninga dara isonda nyin letter nyin kaito nyin report nyin dunda abekela CDR mi alonko abekela numero men dolen 208.
But when did you order these investigations?
Wade jumala te kangodi pour nyin kiskisiro yeke.
It should be immediately after maybe Fakeba must have signed
the date. Yes.
The date.
Asike drone wato men kaito
to look at the last page.
Fakeba ala sign robe damem ni kaiti la bango jube.
Did he state the date?
22 March 2017.
March Karotil Morning Flow 2017.
This is 3 months post Jame.
But the investigations was on for that up to that point. Yes, immediately after Jame's departure, that I instructed. Because my fear at that time is that quite a number of them will leave the jurisdiction if they are not controlled.
Jamme bota John Ronga Kangodi Pruning Kiskisro Damuta, Katulata Nila ko Nimat Quotariandika Damuta, Nadu Kundita Drong, Jamabeter Lekono Ibe Borla Purkabunim Bankoka.
And you did well. You have to be commended for taking that initiative. Thank you very much. But that also does not change the fact that these violations should not have been allowed to happen in the first place.
Of course not.
And that these junglers were known to us before the fall of Jame. You agree?
I don't think I know. I can only say I know one jungler. And I come to know him when he came to my office.
Who is that one?
Nyabali.
When did he come to your office?
I can't remember vividly, but that was my first contact with the jungler.
Hakilo tamuta no la watu men aketa longkunto kambari hakilo baka na birana tanna office.
Why did he come to you?
He came and he said he has an accident with his vehicle.
Nata akala moto anuole accident kanu.
And the vehicle is badly damaged.
Ndu moto tinyanya jaw.
He has been going up and down to traffic.
Ndu meta tani na lakata traffic bundala.
And nothing happens.
Umambwato.
So I decided to call the Commissioner Fadia, inquire about the accident. Then Fadia told me that the file is almost ready.
Did he ever come to your office about the case of the Ghanaians?
No. Honey. He came when I instructed Fadia to make sure that the matter is put before the court.
Okay, let us move on. Those details are not really very important.
No, it's very important.
Okay,
something happened after that.
Okay, what's
so and it's also important that the commission knows what happened thereafter. After 2 weeks, he came to my office to thank me that he is compensated about 250,000 for the wrecked vehicle. Why I want to mention this thing? Sometime in 2015, 14 or 15, I was coming from my house in Jabang. That's why I'm building. Still building it. I was driving a Pajero, although the number is not IGP1. I changed my number plates to different regions. Because for the fact that my vehicle is well known, IGP1, you know IGP is here. So I applied for about 7 number plates of all the regions. So I was coming from my house, just quite far from the estate junction. Just around 10 o'clock, I saw about 6 people dressed in civil, but I can see a rifle by their sides. I decided to link onto the 2, because 2 on this one side and 4 on the other side. I lowered my front glass. Then somebody in a mask said, "Oga, move, 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 move." To me, the person doesn't want the rest of the people to know it's me. Because I'm not used to him, I don't know the voice. But I managed to drive, and then after some distance, I put off my lights, and I was going into until somewhere around. I was go to Sukuta, but I ended up pulling out around Olindum. I was a little bit panicked. But I still I comport myself to off my lights and then drive in the dark. Only the small lights were on. Then I had my own thinking. Because when he came to my office and he was moving out, my orderly, who is presently with me here, came into my office. He said, "Do you know this man? He's one of the junglers." I said, "He's a jungler. I think what I did is good too, because he came to complain and I refer him to traffic, and I think he's going to be looked after." I want to believe that this is the person who was telling me to quickly, because I did a favor to him, I did a favor for him. I'm not sure, but I want to believe that he is the person. This is why I want to mention it. I've never seen them before.
You see, all these, when you saw them at the CMC's office, you wondered whether these were human beings.
Yeah. CMC office
So even these seemingly evil people can sometimes extend courtesy and kindness to people. And when you ask them, they will tell you, "I'm a good man." ask this person, I have done this help for him. But even before this time, in 2014, you knew that there were a group of people called junglers in this country.
In 2014,
I have been hearing black, but not junglers. Because when I came from UK, one of my officers who was with the PIU officer before and transferred to the State House. This Solo Jiba. I think I was told that he's black. Yes. But I don't know of junglers until recently.
Mike.
As recent as 2014.
2014
But it was known that these black were committing crimes.
I don't know of the crime that they committed at that time until it's disclosed to me. But I know they are very rough. They have series of encounters with my officers at checkpoints.
Yumolu mamboila kulu kalama juna fonyi labangola lem biring ila kulu inate la kulu bonya nyoto baringalo ko nyil mumo sangara balete de katu ini namolu katu senna nyola le dinkiral to kata sako ikalanya lu kedamen noto silolu kan.
Most of the time officers at checkpoint will come and say these people just bang on their signboard and then drove off.
Adunna do kulalu jama ka fonyen ko ninga lanya ke silo kan. Nyumolu kanale dro ye taw ye naw joranglu taki lanya menka kesilo ka ye tambiye tela hajol.
When you call the army, because I always tell the commissioners to talk to the operation commander of the police, who will talk to the operation commander of the army, but they always say they are not under our control.
Ninko police la operation commander ye diamu sojaro la operation commander ye ni commandiro ke wati wul fanal kafale ko nyilu mantarante lamaro koto de.
So that's how they are.
O molu be wala nyama nung.
Did they ever tell you under whose control they were?
They always say State House, but I want to believe that they are directly under General Baji and the former president.
Kafale donc nyilbe State House le koto bari ntelata men wolem nyinti ko General Baji ni president ke danko wollela.
And you know, not by destroying the equipment you have on your checkpoints, they would have destroyed government property.
Ko police ko bagasol mel landi mano kan jew checkpoint ol to kawul tinya o mum kudati won tinya la dem yalon ko e masakunda la fengol tinya.
Of course, sometimes they don't even always stop in that, they open fire.
Modol ha ibukani dan tinyaro dam manade ikakido bondile ka fight modol.
That is for possible pursue, because when they know that, because sometimes when they are dealing in drugs and they reach the checkpoint, they will always open fire so that the police will fan back and they will run, because that's our belief that they are onto drug peddling.
Katu nyimolu kalamu siata hani drug sira fenja ulu ikataman ladu nibe usila fason kang ifutatana mulu malanyato hana bukada nyina koe lanya nyin taki wala katinya ikakido bondi ka fay puru nyin kamala wairi ka nyimmira ko na mulu be bulale no maleke bayindi o dalilo le ya sabu ikawoke pour ka boriyeta.
All three examples you have given are violations of the law.
Of course.
Have you ever caused these things to be investigated and prosecuted?
Council, I did not.
Council Mauke.
Why?
You try to find out under whose command they are. You find it very tough to know who they are. So they are. I know they should be under the command of the CDS. But if the CDS, because as the IG, if you want to investigate anything, you have to let the CDS know and release that person to come. But if the CDS is saying they are not under my command, difficult to know.
Akakoleale pour kanyim molla ko no masata. Katu tumodolu ninga kal kumandiroke. Pour ka fanyi molu laftale pour ke ije wala ke ilondi silo kan fereti je fonga akumo futandi CDS ma memmu ila kunton koti min CDS fongolota ka foko nyilu mantarantela kango koto mantaran na maro koto silang ibe ku itilina jumalela awole ka kolu koleyandi.
For me, those that are under my command,
dela karola menu ben koto
if there is any problem, I'll get them.
Were you
afraid to investigate the state guards for the violations they have committed, not just of the law, but against your own people?
State guard hana manke nyindi pour luala karo kama non bari ita fangola do kulala tango kam.
I will not say I am afraid. What I want to believe is that I don't think I can.
Why?
If you want to wage a battle that you know you are going to lose, there is no need for you to wage that war.
So you
it is certain to me that if I request any of them, I may likely replace them.
You are afraid for your own self.
Not only for my own self, because I will give directives as the Inspector General of Police. I only give directives. But my directives are going to be carried by some people. And I don't want to subject those people to those type of harassment.
It
was certain to me that they will not win that war. I have situations.
Why do you describe it as a war?
I think I'm just using that war thing because I'm just saying you cannot, if you know that you are not going to win a war, why wage a war?
I thought it
means I know there will not be any success. And there's no need for me to go.
I am sure you chose your words very carefully. You're a seasoned police officer, also a lawyer. You use your words very carefully. You use the word war advisedly. No, you used it advisedly. I don't think that is what I said, but I cannot interpret what I said in Malika, so we leave it at that. But you, in fact, you're just expressing the challenge involved and the difficulty involved in you doing your job during that time.
Yes, that's right.
And in fact, you did not do your job in that regard because you needed to preserve yourself and also your own safety and security and that of your men.
Yes, my concentration is more on my men. If you hit my men also, I react. I wouldn't mind going home. I wouldn't mind going home for that. Me, it's better not to than to go and then and get your people involved in a lot of things that you cannot get them out of. From.
hanni be mbayla wala fisanye ngam mo dolu dundi kolea kono nte bondino la dame.
For me, the issue here is more about the environment, the status quo that existed at the time, where we had entities and forces that were not subjected to the law.
Definitely, there are entities that are above the law at that time. I personally had few of my officers detained at the NIA. And one of them is a senior officer. He's a commissioner of police. I have to go personally. Find out. But what I was told is that they were investigating something. But they should have contacted me and then asked me. Then if I want to hand over that person to them, I can hand over that person to them. But I don't know of the circumstances, no information, no nothing, and you pick them and they are with you.
Ning tenyanta umari dile telanu mba dile la lenungo tumbo natara wala nyanta kela bari kama mamfonye imam bondi ku kalama iman saranna yewlu mutale anyama droit diate tole nyame.
This is the passing of Commissioner Jata.
Wala keta moti ka fome Commissioner Jata
and the author of that listing Fakeba Dabo.
Ani meyo kaito sign ka fome Fakeba Dabo.
Then Fakeba was a superintendent.
Tumo Fakeba mo superintendent leti.
On a flimsy report that was filed against him by another police officer.
Andum police do kula dole fananata kuma furi musafia la koto dorom pro nyanta mutalamenka.
Tell me, Mr. Witness. Should a police complaint against a fellow policeman be a matter that should go to the NIA?
Poliso anyon poliso e kuso no miano ko kole akole da maltema ayna na kuota aya bole NIA fo nyan la bang
amanyankela.
It's wrong.
In
fact, to me, NIA should not handle any complaints.
I was
with the police when the special branch was on.
Police bring ilaw bunda ka fome special branch me yalon ko ila ko ba fayen
of the special branch.
NIA amunta tel mu chokindane to special branch la Carola.
Special branch never operate like that.
Special branch bukela do ko tamandi no nyama.
Even among us, we don't know some of them.
Nanintel fangu kono man do long ikono fang.
They operate clandestinely.
Ikela do ko tamandi ifayenne.
Their duty was only to file their report, not to arrest.
Andu itella do ko munyeti ko nin ku keta ya safe yow kibaro nat.
I don't know.
But nyin sembo table pour ka momuta.
How this was changed.
Mana along wo falinta nyadile.
I want to also blame the lawmakers.
Bari lafta luwada dalal tumila wa Carola.
Because they have gone to the extent of giving mandate to investigate to the NIA.
Katu itatale hanu fo futatalo dulato pour ka kango anin sembo di NIA la kisikisiro la Carola.
From the degree to act of parliament.
Kabo bunda do la kata hanu fo député bungu fongola.
So that's the situation.
You would agree with me, you've mentioned earlier, that the investigations of the killing of the West African migrants was a government cover-up.
Well, when facts are known now, it's a cover-up, definitely, by all circumstances.
But even that time, when this task force was set up, it was known that it was a cover-up, especially within the circles of police.
Probably it will be done by people who are here at the time and they know the facts. I don't know the facts. All the I know is that some migrants were killed here.
But
the circumstances of their killing and the report that you read yesterday or just the day before yesterday, this was a big surprise because when you are going through the report, I was also watching and this is terrible.
Andung wo molu la mutanya anina te fa nyamin ndela bo kalama wole birin kunun ko ebe o kaito karankan jang aketanyen tere makubati me yalon ko ayen yokuya.
I did not go through all the reports.
Atu ye kibaro lu menu be safia ko to mawlu be karang.
I look at it as a report.
Nkaju be lo ko nyimu kibaro ti nyanta men dundila.
I think I went through the introduction. But I had contact with this report in 2009.
Bari nyinkibaro ala dungo mbulo kono was 2009.
Okay. But Mr. Witness, even those who participated in the earlier cover-up were part of your support team.
I only know about that when you read these things to me. I know they are all the people that I mentioned here are part of the task force. But when I look at this thing, I now reflect on the membership. But I think I'm the only person who was not here at the time.
Bring ya karanjanne men bebe task force ni kono ibijele bari bitu wairi otuma mantara banko kang bring ako wanyar taten non nata along ko nyi lata nyame ani menu ba kono.
During these investigations, you had cause to ask for the diary of Bara.
I want to make clarification on that. There was no investigation as far as I'm concerned. My task is to make available certain documents to the UN team, a UN ECOWAS team.
Facilitate
the conduct of their investigation.
But at this time you knew that Gambia government denied that more than 8 Ghanaians were arrested in this country.
But fokabula wato la ye inkalam tele ko masakunda mbenu jang wol balantele ko Ghanaian din say ime mutajam.
As I said, I'm never aware of that. All I know is that I know confirmed that 8 migrants were killed here. The denial aspect of it, I'm not opportune to see that.
Nafoko tonya lambota kala manganyi moi ko Ghana luntam mo sai fajang. Barka fo man sakunda ya so sole nung mambo kala manu tumo.
Probably I was not here at the time.
Sike utembo mantara bankoka.
But you did say earlier that you knew that the government denied.
No, I said I knew that these Ghanaians were killed, and you went further to ask me whether I know the Ghanaians denied. I said I confirm that foreign nationals are killed here, and they are 8 in number, but the denial of the government, that I don't know.
Nyam fajam ko tonya mbota nyin kalama ko luntan say yewlu fanyim banko kan janne sonta wala barka fo ko man sakunda na tan loka ko moso so mawfonu.
Well, it is quite worrisome and shocking that you would be appointed to this position and you did not even know what the government position was.
Abe ko le ala bando ni ko abe warla bage pour itara nyi maka moto ka fo ko imalo ndu masakunda lo la bulo menteni akonyi kono.
Which position are you referring to?
Whether government accepted or denied.
I mean, which position, my current position or my previous position?
Your previous position at the time as CMC appointed to this task force.
Probably the government, this thing is a policy matter and then I'm on a personal side.
But Mr. Witness, you asked for the diary from Bara, correct?
I am to submit that to the diary.
Who asked you to submit it to the UN?
It said whatever they requested. That's what we should make available to them.
Yes.
Then I call back.
But who asked you to give them the diary? For Bara?
No, because I was the one coordinating, and I have no specific instruction as to do this, do this.
So you
believed that the diary from Bara would be necessary, correct?
Yeah, because I look at the amnesty or the Martin Trrc's report, and he mentioned certain places, and I requested those diaries.
Martin Trrc ala diamo kono ngaw moya e damelu fo so ay dinkiralu mennu fo dalilu le ya sabullata la ko to dinkiralu ni ngawlu momo kunyal tatar la safari ñi la ko to jele wala na ngaw daariolu kanin.
So who did you ask for the diary for Bara?
My starting point was, I tried to find out from Bara station as to whether the diary of that date is available, and I was referred to Jawara Demba. Then Jawara Demba said, let me ask Babukar Ba. I called Babukar Ba, he came to my office.
Didn't you find it odd that you would ask all these people and they would still continue to refer you to some other people?
Jawara Demba nga Jawara Demba fana nyininka Jawara Demba fananko nga Babukar Ba nyininka butumolem legal council kay fo nyinte kele fe ka kuti pour ka ibe soundin na ka fo kar nyininka.
Of course.
What did it raise in your mind?
What raised my mind? Why they? For me, I think they are just shifting responsibilities to each other.
Ndela mira roto amunta be dunonyi sounding kan ka la nyokan.
That's at that time.
But why?
Well, I may not know the reason at that time. But now I know the reason.
During that time, you called Ba. And what was the conversation?
Ba came to my office and I asked him about the diary. And he said, sir, this diary was requested by the Honorable Minister of Interior some years ago.
Minister Marta Banko kan kunya la wole nyin diary kanin sanjidanta komando.
And it should be with him.
At this stage, what was your reason for wanting the Bara diary?
For me, I think it's going to be, because it's mentioned. I only rely on because the complaint must have come from either Amnesty International or Martin Trrc. So I went through Martin Trrc's extract of his statement from the Amnesty International.
But why was the diary relevant? I am sure Martin Trrc would not tell you about the diary in Bara. Why was the diary relevant as far as you concerned?
Well, because I thought at that time,
don't overlap.
Yes. I thought at that time this is going to be one of the issues, because if they are coming to investigate, it's obvious that they will reach to all these places or they request diaries of that.
Martin Trrc la kumakangulu kono ngani intarajele wala seke Amnesty International la kanindirode bari nata je ko to ninyi molu nata ila sula dalu ani nyanta futa la damenuto wo betarle la kolu kono le pour ila kisikisiro nyanta futa la damenuto.
But my question really is, of all documents that can potentially be at the police station, why did you specifically request for the diary?
Kaitol membe me alonko lebe tara police station mune asabu al bale diary nyim fon kaning.
I did not only request for the diary, I request for an investigation report on the matter.
Man diary nyin dam man kaninde hani kisi kolu melu keta ko nyinto wo fanan akaito lunge kaninde.
But still the question is, why would you want the diary to be brought? What is the specific significance of the diary?
Because this is not recent diaries. And if I allow the investors to come up on the ground, it may take a reasonable time because they are only here for, I don't know, 4 days.
Yeah, but you're missing the point. The point is, what is the significance of the diary to this
because
investigation?
I have that belief that some of the activities concerning the missing persons will be in the diaries.
Lata nyene la ko ning kisikisirla nata jang ni man diary nyin kanin juna ni fulata jang pour kana diary kanin wonota be melale adu nata la nyin fanana ko ningo kolu be blonna woto nyimmolu menu yemanta teng aketa wato men wairi ila ko flota barale woto ila ko be terle safaring barala diary le kono wala nan sulata diary la.
Okay, did you see the diary eventually?
The diary was produced and an extract was made for me for that period.
Nata diary nyim bondile adun nte sulata damen na diary nyim kono ngaw bondi akono le wotumo.
Where is that extract?
It was presented because I just want to, but if you want me to.
Go ahead.
Yes. What happened is that when Bar told me that it's with the Honorable Minister, I consulted the IG, Esabaji. But we are together. I'm not quite sure who among us called the former minister. It could either myself or Esabaji. And his response is that you check with Numo Kujabi. Then that's how we stopped. Later on in the day, Numo came and told me that did you ask the minister about the file? Yes. About the diary? I said yes. Do you want to make extract? But I think it was in a safe custody with him. And he made extract for me. I kept that. That is just a day or two before the arrival of the team. So I wanted to submit it on their very day. But they never requested for it. I kept it with me until finally when they completed their distance. And then I submitted it to them upon their request.
Did the diary contain any information? The diary from Bara, did it contain any information about the West African migrants?
Diary nying kono fo ay fem fudi jele me alon ko be sujuni nying Africa tilijin dala banku dingo mo la kula ba.
Me, the activities that I thought would have been in that diary were not there.
Ntela miroto nga mira nun kolu menu nyanta tarla o diary kono imantara je.
So what information did you glean from that? What conclusion did you draw from that?
Well, I don't know. If you don't know what had happened, it's going to be difficult because to know whether all these names or whatever should be there. Because I was not here. But all that I know is that from Martin's statement, he made mention of Bara. That's why it is important they were arrested and taken to Bara police station.
Wairi otumo mukuliti memante tarajang. Woto mfana hakilo botanyina kanko. Wairi Martin la kumakang luto. Ay nyimfo ko biri muta sambabara police cordale to. So wala nang hakilo ye jemuta ko nyanta talla o kaito ko buko konole.
Mr. Chair, perhaps this is a convenient time to stop for lunch break.
Fine, my counsel, yes, we would do that. But I want to hold off a little bit on the granting of your request concerning Exhibit 207A. I think we would need a bit more explanation on the genesis of that document. There are only two things clear to me at the moment, and one is a witness saying here that he requested this document, and the second is Fakeba Dabo's signature on the document dated 22nd March 2017. The document is got quite a few interpreters. Don't worry about this. This is between counsel and myself and perhaps the witness. The document has 10 investigations summarized to a certain extent. A summary of that one. Each one has got 3 subsections. One dealing with the description of the investigation itself, that is summarized. And the other one dealing with a list of suspects that are in custody. And then the third section dealing with suspects that are at large. One example is the one dealing with the 2 Gambian Americans. And you have a description of the investigation itself. And the second category, those who are in custody, about 3 of them. And then the last one, suspects at large, has 10 individuals mentioned there. On top of that list is former President Yahya Jammeh. I think we would need a bit of explanation on what this document is before we admit it. And I think, Counsel, when you said if it is accepted, that conditional thing, I suspect you are probably on the same page. So we'll come back to that. And in the meantime, if the witness could just prepare himself to just explain, give us a bit more background on that document before we admit or grant its inclusion in the exhibit. We will take a
thank
break.
you very much. I would also want to, because this is, I lose my own copy, and I asked the investigators to send me another copy. It is in their file, they send it. That's why it appears to be, the papers appears to be new. They made a photocopy for me. But I also want to, the information could be photocopied so that I have a copy.
Yeah, it is a bit convoluted, but we will clear that up, and if you can give us a bit of background before we admit it to our list. Counsel, we will come back to this, and I will come back to you on the question of granting its inclusion. In the
all right.
documents.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We will take a break and then come back at 3 o'clock. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all very much.